Welcome to Forged in the Fires podcast with Fireman Rob. Being a fireman, father, veteran, husband, world record holder, and Ironman, he brings stories of experience to impact your life while challenging you to live it. What do you want from your life? Why do you want it? Are you willing to go through the challenges to get there? If you have the courage to take that first step, let this podcast be the catalyst to start your fire while you bring the resilience to make it continue to burn. Our lives are made up of moments called right nows. So let's get started. Forged in the Fires podcast with your host, Fireman Rob, begins now.
I have to say, today we're going to have a guest on. This is going to be a fun one. The hardest thing I thought was going to be actually pronouncing his last name, but it's actually going to be pretty easy for me. I figured it out before we got on this program. Now, this guy is a high-growth CEO. He is now wrote a book that is the core value equation. It is one of those books where if you don't get it, you might as well just go hide under a rock because you're not going to understand what's going on. Darius, Mirshahzadeh, thank you so much for coming on the program.
Thank you so much, Fireman Rob. I appreciate it.
I love it. Well, people can go to www.therealdarius.com to find this book, but tell me more because the core value is huge. I was in the military and being in the fire service. It's one of those things that it is so important. And now you put it into an equation. Tell me more about this book.
Yeah, I'll start off by saying that most people fuck it up pretty bad. And they when I say the word core values, obviously you come from a background, a traditional background in military and fire department where the values matter because lives are on the line, right? And
exactly.
So that language around behavior, it's like people get that, hey, well, this is what we stand for, and you better not mess it up, or else people are gonna die.
Yeah.
If I work at an escrow company or a real estate office, lives aren't on the line. So, oh man, we delayed the closing of that loan, and
oh, there goes Bob.
Yeah, so, let's who wants to make the funeral plans, right? No one's doing it, right? So the reality is in these areas where if you look at police, firemen, and military, they seem to get this stuff. When I talk to them about it, they're like, oh yeah, and it's because the stakes are high. So in traditional business, I think that forward-thinking leaders look at it and they're like, yeah, this makes sense because we have core values in every parts of our lives. If you look at the things that matter most to us, our families, church, community, the things that really matter most, we look straight to what are their values and do they align with our values? And then people go take a job and they don't give a shit. So
exactly.
It's I'm like, but where do you spend most of your waking hours? And so it's really interesting to me. And what I tell people is I say, I believe core values are the most valuable asset any organization can have to leverage for the most amount of return in their environment, whether it is a company or whether it is a community organization. Your values are where you get all the bang for your buck. The issue is somehow along the lines, I don't know if it's the HR people or the people in the companies, they hijack the words and they turned it into culture. And so now when I say core values, people's eyes glaze over if they don't get it, and they start thinking that we're talking about company culture. And I'm like, no, you fucking idiots. It's not that. It is, but it's not the way you think it is. What it is this. You get to have the most highest performing organization when you get those right and align people around them, rally them around them, hold them accountable to them, and operationalize it. And I think you coming from a military background, you can understand what I just said. Operationalizing your values is what yields all the results. And so somehow, like I said, the HR folks had taken, they stole the words and they made it all about culture. And I'm like, no, you dumbasses. You get high performance and for free, you get a good culture. That's free. That's I didn't do anything. I just get it. The thing that you get that you got to work for is the high performance. And so the book's all around how do you take core values, operationalize them. And when you do this, three things occur. You get the ultimate decision-making machine for an organization. You get what I call invisible scale or an invisible manager. And last but not least, you get a magnet for talent who should never work for you because you don't deserve their great talent, but they will show up when you authentically say what you are and make it come to life.
Darius, you hit it on the head, man. I read the invisible manager, that sits next to every single employee and you don't even have to hire them. That's such a powerful statement because it is it's so true in every aspect of your life. Integrity first is one of the core values of the Air Force, and it's, an excellence in everything that you do, no matter if anybody's watching. And I think this is speaking directly to that, of these core values that you're talking about are free. That's huge. You've been the CEO of a bunch of companies. You've been successful. How valuable is it to have employees that do the right thing and go the extra mile, even if you're not next to them?
Yeah, you tell me, right? How valuable is it to get employees to do the right thing and go the extra mile, even if you're not sitting next to them? If any listener says it's not valuable, like your employer should fire you. So, yeah, like if I was your employer, you'd be shit canned like 2 seconds later. So I think that's like a no-brainer, right? Like how valuable? It's the most valuable thing. If I can get people, I get two options. I can either have people show up apathetically for a paycheck, or I get a diehard group of individuals that show up and take bullets to build the most ideal business. And I don't have to look over their shoulder and bark orders at them to do what they're supposed to do because they want to do it on their own. Like it's a no-brainer, right? And so to respond to your question, though, is I learned it the hard way. Like I've built businesses literally from startup to 1,000 employees, completely bootstrapped. My first business, I learned this in the hard way, was a business that was number 40 in the Inc. 500. This is back before they gave participation medals for 501. And so now the Inc. 50,000. I'm like, dude, you're number 4,900, dude. There's only like 6,000 companies in America. Like, dude, like the millennials take over or something. Like everyone.
It doesn't even count.
Yeah, I'm like, hey man, if you're not in the top, 1,000, it's like go home. And so
right.
It's just not worth celebrating as far as I'm concerned. Sorry, Inc. 5,000. But my business was number 40. It means we were the 40th fastest growing company in America. Now, what I tell people is that when I went to go get the award, number one, it was a freaking subprime mortgage company, which is no bueno in 2007. And number two, right. When I showed up to get my award, I was the 40th fastest shrinking company in the United States. I went from 150 down to 10 employees in like 90 days because of what happened in that market. And so I learned by making every mistake in the book how to do this the right way. And the real lesson kind of came to me in my next big success, which is where I went from about 30 employees to 300 employees in 18 months. And it was different that time. I had learned a lot from my mistakes over the previous decade and a half. And I had learned how to basically do this. I think you will appreciate this very much so, again, given your background. When core values become alive and well in an organization, they become the language of the organization. They control the way people talk to each other. They control the behavior. How we talk is how we behave. And so I believe that core values have an opportunity to become a language for an organization. And when that happens, it creates what I talked about earlier, which is invisible scale. People do the right things not because they're told to do it, but because the culture demands it of them, and they're part of that culture, and it's part of their language. It's a part of who they are. I don't have to sit there and ask someone to do the right thing when they're going to do it no matter what, because it's who they are. But you have to operationalize it for that to happen. And the military is probably the best example we have of an organization that's done that because they have to do it. Lives are on the line.
Now, what is because I think it's one of those things where you have to go through those trials of fire, and you have to go through the issues to be able to create core values that you want to move forward with. How does a company know when they're able to do that? Because when you start out from, like you were saying, like when you start out from 0 and you go up to 1,000 and then you knock back down, do you have to reevaluate what your core values are?
Yeah. So I had a conversation with Vern Harnish, who wrote Scaling Up, about this. And he made a good point, which is that, look, until you're at about $1 million in revenue, it's all just, mental mind games. You're just guessing on what the business is. The reality is that it's kind of aspirational if you start at 0 and do it. Most businesses aren't going to do this at 0. They're going to do it when they've been in business for some time. But if you aren't starting at 0, just know that, hey, like as the organization forms, because what's an organization really? It's a bunch of people that come together. There's different personalities. There's different value sets. I always say, a friend of mine, Summer Thoman, taught me this. She said, look, companies don't have values, people have core values. So when I get 30 people in a room, I got 30 different sets of values. If I haven't defined for them what the organization stands for, then what ends up happening is that group collectively will build a set of values. And it happens intuitively. The question is, do you get what you want, right? If the Air Force didn't say that we demand X, Y, and Z, then they wouldn't get the same results. You'll get a mix. I say it's like a mishmash of results because we're not holding people to a standard from a values perspective. So when it's a new organization and they do this, I just say, look, be open-minded and flexible, knowing that 3 to 5 years from now, as you become more fully baked, you want to take you may have to go do a facelift. You may have to go, upgrade do a rehab to the bathroom, if you will. You might have to, but if
you always need to do that.
Yeah, you don't want 70s fixtures in your bathroom in the guest room. So
I hate that because I sit in there for so long and it's my thought process. And, if you're in the 70s, it's bad.
Yeah, I mean, unless it's like a mohair rug, I'll take that.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. Is a mohair rug toilet seat cover? You got it, baby.
I mean, that's gonna spur growth and productivity.
Have you ever seen the movie Get Him to the Greek with Russell Branson?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. He's like, these walls are fucking made out of werewolf.
See, I like that. This is you get the fruits of the labor when you're talking about core values, but if you don't talk about what you need on your bathroom walls, you don't understand.
Yeah, it's just, you're missing the boat.
I love it. Well, now people are probably listening to this and going, well, this Darius guy, what's his background? How does he know about core values? You're not just this guy that came up with this idea out of the blue or have created. You are the number 9 top CEO by Glassdoor list for small and medium businesses in the U.S. Number 3 best place to work by San Francisco Business Times when you're over. You're not just a run-of-the-mill person. You are the CEO of the Money Source. What other things have you done? Because you have the person who wrote Traction commenting on your book. That's a huge book. I've read that book, and it's not as good as your book, but she tried.
I can't talk shit on Gino.
I know. I'm just kidding.
Yeah. So, I'll say, going back to one of the earlier questions. First of all, I'm actually not the CEO of the Money Source anymore. I left the company in November. I'm now I've exited the company. I'm friends. They're all my friends. They're my family. But I'm out in the world doing the book thing and looking at what the future holds for me. So I do want to pay respect to my Money Source family, and the current CEO is my former business partner. He's a great guy and doing great work. So going back though, those things you just said, those I got for free. Like going back to what I said, culture you get for free, right, man? I got those for free. I did was focus on running a good business and doing the best practices to build the most highest performing business I know how to build. And it starts with core values. It's the foundation. So for me, the first thing we did when we built that business was we built the core values. And then I just, I had a lot of experience with high growth scale at that point. I got there. The business was founded in '97 by my partner, and who was I was co-owners with, and it was a relatively small business when I got there, and we grew it from about 30 to 1,000 employees in 3 years. One thing that happened, Fireman Rob, was when we went from 30 to 300, we did it in 18 months, and most people don't do that. It was bootstrapped. We didn't have like VCs or anybody. This is us earning money, taking the money, putting it back in the business, growing like fucking crazy. And when you're growing like that, it's a new business every few weeks. Well, we did all the right things. And something happened on the 18th month. I looked back and I was like, and chapter 8 of my book, I talk about, it says core values are not just fluff. And I have a whole measurement methodology. How do you measure for ROI? How do you treat this like it's a balance sheet or income statement or a KPI, like a traditional vanity metric? So I treat core values just the same way. They're just another asset in the business, and I'm looking for ROI. So a lot of times people are like, "Is this a culture guy?" And I'm like, "Do I sound like a fucking culture guy to you?"
No,
I don't, right? Because I'm not. I am, because I get it for free. But what happened at the end of the 18 months was I looked back and we had an 83 NPS. 83. And NPS is Bain's methodology for Net Promoter Score. That's customer loyalty. So we were like literally higher than like Google. We were higher than Apple. We were like number 1 in the United States. And then I did what's called ENPS. That's Employee Net Promoter Score. So I asked the employees on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being that you would not recommend, 10 being the highest recommendation, would you recommend a friend or family member to work at TMS? And again, we were in the 80s, which is like unheard of. And I said, and the funny thing was, is I was like, I noticed something. All 300 of the employees were talking in core value language. I mean, this is how they held each other accountable. The language of the organization had come to life. At this point, I hadn't realized that core values equal the language of the organization until this moment. And I was like, wow, this is fucking cool, right? And then I noticed something else. But go back to my previous company, Twin Capital, that was the number 40 in the Inc. 500. Dude, getting to 150 was fucking brain damage, dude. I hated that company at the time. like, I say it in my book. It's the first sentence of my book. I hate this company. And then I say, and it's all my fault, right? And I did, because it sucked. And it was not a well-run company. I mean, and I was a CEO, and I was just inexperienced. I didn't know what I was doing. And every inch of that growth to be the Inc. 500 came with freaking shrapnel in my body. Like I took bullets the whole way up. This time around, half the time, twice the headcount growth, zero growing pains. Zero.
Really?
What the fuck did I just do? How did I do this, right? And I realized I created a language for the organization at that point. So what I say is, dude, I got all that stuff for free. I get the best place to work. I got the, great places to work on Fortune. I got the number 9 highest rate CEO in America on Glassdoor. That was free. That was just because I did all the right things and it spoke for itself. But I didn't do it because I was trying to win those awards. I got those for free. I did it because I wanted to build the best company out there. And I firmly believe that starts and ends with core values.
I agree with you 5,000%. And it's interesting because when you were mentioning earlier, all these what people used to deem as soft skills, like the core values of the soft skills, are actually becoming so fundamentally important in the business world now that people need somebody like yourself and especially like this book where people can go to therealdarius.com and find out more to be able to understand what it is, because for so long they've pushed it to the side thinking, like you were saying, it was culture. But now they're coming back in. How do people understand these soft skills or these outside entities that they used to push away? How do they actually start to make business or actually employees that have been there for years and years and years buy into this process?
Well, so it starts, the first thing that I do is, like I said, in chapter 3 in the book, I say core values don't need to be nice. Okay. So what ends up happening is the reason they're soft and underappreciated is because people went the wrong way. Their marketing team and their HR team got in there and they're like, no, Darius, you can't say that we have a warrior culture. You have to say that we are all about integrity. And I'm like, but we are a warrior culture. And they're like, yeah, you can't say that. It's going to offend some people. So it's this like political correctness around core values. And so my position is like, fuck them. Core values don't need to be nice. So
right.
The minute I own what I am, which by the way, every single one of your team members knows what you are. So you just got to be authentic about it. And they're going to do one of two things. They're either going to opt in or they're going to self-select out. And what ends up happening is people try to please everybody and end up pleasing nobody. And they get these bullshit fake core values. They put them up on the wall. People look at them for 2 seconds. They're like, this is bullshit. This looks like some fake corporate fucking office bullshit, right?
Yep.
And so the minute you do that, you lose credibility with your team. It's totally the opposite of inspirational. And you get what's called words on paper or words on a wall. And to your point, it's not an asset. It's nothing. It's totally it's just like a rock. You could fucking glue a rock on your wall and you'll get the same result. And so, it's nothing, right? It just,
right.
So I go the other way, which is I'm like, no. I'm going to spend the time. And in the book, we go into how do you figure out what you authentically are as an organization? And most people that this is going to help is anyone that's running an organization. Most people are going to have been in business for a few years. A lot of you guys are going to already have core values. Take those core values, light them on fire, put them in a dumpster and get rid of them, and go sit down. And it's not hard, but you got to figure out what are the 4 to 6 things that you will fall on your sword for. You know what it is. Organizations know what they are. Family units know. My family and I, we have family core values. We know what the fuck we are, right? And so, you know what you are in a business. Go be that. Say it. Own it. Be unapologetic about it. And when you do that, you now have an asset to start leaning on for behavior. Because you could say, that's not this. So I'll give you an example. At my previous company, The Money Source, it was people matter, which is about caring about people, inspiring leadership, which is inspiration, strength and character, which is integrity, and then rock solid service, which is service orientation. If you weren't doing those things, you can't be a part of the company. And that's just
pretty
it.
Simple.
It's real simple. My previous company was do work, which is work your ass off, live Zen, which is around karma, break the box, innovation, and last but not least, it's wow everyone, which is excellence. If you're not out there busting your ass to create excellence results, thinking outside the box, and not fucking people over, you can't be a part of our company. Like you have to.
God, that seems like humanity.
Right. And so, but dude,
that's normal day of life.
But people break that shit all the time, dude. And so, and they break, and it's not that you just chop their head off the minute they break it. It's that you hold them accountable to the standard. You give them an opportunity to fix it. And then the people that don't want to be held accountable to those standards, they just start, they start slithering away. They leave. They don't want it. A lot of times it's just around people that don't want to be held accountable at all. And so what I found was the people, you start to get a glow around the organization the more you do it, because people who like it are like, this place is fucking awesome. And people that don't like it start self-selecting out. And then the outside world starts seeing it. Your customers are like, I like that guy. I like that company. I want to do business with them because they do things the way I do things. And then what ends up happening is your competitors start to hear about it. And their employers are like, my place is fucking, the place I work right now fucking sucks. I want to go work for Darius. Yeah. And then you start to get people that show up on your front door and they're like, how do I work for you? And that's how you grow and you get what's called invisible scale. You get people who believe what you believe and show up and they do the work without having to be asked. I don't have to look over their shoulder. If we have a core value around working hard, I don't have to look over your shoulder and make sure you're working hard. Just do it. You've always worked hard, just who you are as a person, right? So it attracts people. And then you start to get the awards because your team loves where they work and your customers love the services you provide. And the asset is the core values because it controls all the behavior in the organization.
I love it. Now, the real Darius is what you're running now. And it's realistically, if you're listening, this is the real Darius. What are some of the things that are coming out that people can check out at therealdarius.com? Yeah,
so the book comes out September 15th. Really excited about that. There's going to be a master course attached to that, and it's really for CEOs, entrepreneurs that want to, building your core values the right way is it's hard and it's a process. And most people, if you go to like a large company, like if I get hired by a big company, I'm going to charge $1 million to do this for them because it means it's very meaningful. But we're building the master course so that any company can do it. They get a year of coaching with it, and that's coming out when the book comes out. And then there's some cool stuff I'm doing right now that is TBD, but it's around coaching, which is helping the right. And I'll be straight up with you, Fireman Rob. It's 1% of you guys who listen to this will get accepted. So it's really not to say the other 99% are great people, but I'm only working with certain people. And
I love that.
Yeah,
you gotta want it.
Yeah. They gotta want it. They gotta be the right people. So I'm starting a thing called the Greatness Collaborative. So far, I got 6 CEOs. I basically went out to my network and started asking people if they want to be part of it. It's once a month. They meet. It's a 1-day event. I coach. It's 12 people individually. It's a big commitment, but if you want to 10x your business, you can work with someone that's built, over $1.2 billion of revenue, bootstrapped in his businesses, and I'm offering that for some people right now. So you can go to the Real Darius, sign up, and if you're interested, you can email me, and I'm happy to have a quick chat about it.
I got to pitch your live stream and podcast, the Greatness Machine. There's a lot of dancing on that. Tell me more about that.
Yeah, that's more of a passion project, man. Like I'm an entertainer by nature. I love to learn. And so about 8 years ago, I started doing the TEDx conferences where I actually curated them. And I did them in San Francisco at the Young Museum. And I did 2 of them, but then I got really busy growing my business to, what I was just talking about. And when you're doing that, like I barely see my family, let alone throw another TED conference. And so the show's really that conference coming to life where I get to bring in really interesting people, chat with them about their lives, learn from them, and then present that to the audience. So really it's around people who have created greatness in the world by living their passions. And we just have these, it's so cool, man. Like I get to spend an hour with these folks and pick their brain and learn from them. And then the audience gets to ask questions. And we've had, last week, this is like no joke. Last week I had a person that swam the English Channel. I had another friend of mine, her and her husband rode their bikes from the northernmost road in Alaska to the southern tip of Tierra del Fuego in 20 months. Dude, by the way, that was by Wednesday. I had those two things happen, and by Thursday, I had a guy who circumvented the globe in a sailboat over 6 years. Like those were 3 of my 12 guests last week. So
now you're setting yourself up. You're going to have to find the person that walked across America, went down to South America. Yeah. I was like, I can't wait to see what the next person is.
Yeah, and then swam to Europe.
Yes,
dude,
with a shark, chasing them.
I couldn't, with the shark, right? Dude, my buddy that swam the English Channel, he went and attempted to swim the English Channel in winter, and is the only human on Earth that's ever tried this. And he got hypothermia a third of the way through. So
that's crazy. I would have not expected that.
Yeah, who'd have thunk, right?
Yeah.
Sam Penny's a maniac. But yeah, no, it's really cool. Like those are some people. We had Don DePani, this famous Hindu monk, come on, talk about focus. Tonight we have a performance artist by the name of Ice Queen. She's coming on. She's this amazing clown who does like personalities. So it's a bunch of people just doing really cool shit to live like their passions and creating greatness in the world. And so I really want change makers. I want people that want to be a part of something greater than themselves to join the show, and for that to inspire people. And that's really the purpose of that. And so for me, it's really elevating what we expect out of each other and showing the best of what we are to the world.
I love that because it really directly correlates to kind of the process that you're putting into place in the businesses of the core values. When somebody has that value of pushing the limits, like I think one of the big things that you're talking about is when somebody can go ahead and push forward without understanding or seeing what the difference in the future might be or what the challenges are going to be, but they still do it. Those are the people that you're talking to that have core values that push far beyond and exceed what human potential is. And I love it. Well, it's a great compliment.
Oh, no, I appreciate exactly what you're saying. And it's real easy though, right? Like when we do things out of service for a greater opportunity, i.e. our values, then better things happen, right? So I think what happens is people get so self-focused that it becomes where there's no value being created outside of themselves. And the opposite of that is if I make a proclamation of what my values are and I go and live them to the fullest extreme, like every ounce, and I hold myself accountable to that, whether I'm an organization or an individual. And that's why I say the book's great, whether you just want to like learn about this stuff for yourself. You're not going to go and apply it unless you're running an organization or you're a leader the same way, but you can apply it to your personal life. Like I've taken the principles of my book and I've applied it to my family. And so what I tell people is this is how you really raise the bar for yourself, is to say what you are and then go hold yourself accountable to it and be unapologetic, like unapologetic in every way, shape, or form. And then good things start to happen, dude. Like you start meeting more people that resonate with you and you resonate with them and you're connecting. And then and that begets more of that. And before you know it, man, you're like, this whole world starts to open up and you're like, fuck yeah, like this is why I'm here, as opposed to just like living this life of quiet desperation that so many of us do, because we've been told by adults and teachers and all these idiots who live their own lives of quiet desperation that we can't be what we are. And I'm like, no, man, fly your flag, be what you are, own it, tell people, and go and do it.
Darius, you can go to therealdarius.com, find out his book. There's going to be a lot more things that are coming out. So if you're not going to his site, you're missing out. The Greatness Machine live stream and podcast. You need to listen to it because it seems crazy and exciting all at the same time. Darius, thanks so much for joining me today. But I always end the same way with all of my guests. I have 3 questions that I ask you and a rapid round. I didn't give it to you ahead of time because, hey, you got to make the guest a little nervous.
It's all good, man.
You ready?
Fire away.
Hey, that's no pun intended, right? All right. First question is, what is one thing you haven't done, but is outside of your comfort zone?
Oh, bungee jumping.
Oh my God. I wouldn't even do that. I skydive.
Oh,
really? You want to do bungee jumping?
No. Oh, you asked if I want to do it. I was saying, what's one thing I haven't done? I'm like, fuck it, I'm not doing that. No,
I'm saying what you haven't done. You haven't bungee jumped, right?
I'm not going to do. That's one of them. I don't know. Eat snake. maybe I have that.
Ooh,
It's a little outside my comfort zone. I'd eat some snake.
that's good. I like that. Now, would it be like a cobra or like a garter snake?
No, I'm talking like it's got to be cooked. Like Kentucky Fried Steak.
Oh, okay. Not Bear Grylls.
Oh, raw? No, raw. I'd want it to be meaty, like sashimi style. I go cobra.
Okay, I got you. All right, I like it. All right, here's the second one. What's your favorite quote and why?
I got a couple. I'm going to say two. Can I give it two? Because there's two, and I'm not sure.
Oh, definitely.
I don't know who the second one's the quote from. So that's one I've been saying a lot right now, which is how you are anywhere is how you are everywhere.
Like it.
I really like that quote because I think it really speaks to awareness and mindfulness. But there's a cool Jim Rohn quote, which is, "You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most amount of time with." Like, yeah,
that does sound like Jim. That's a perfect quote.
Yeah, go add it up.
I like that.
A lot of you are going to go ditch your friends and family now.
Yeah, I'm going to be spending a lot more time eating snake with you, Darius.
Yeah.
Here's the third one. All right, if you could have coffee with 3 people, they could be deceased, they could be alive, they can be cartoon characters, at a firehouse table. So in other words, you would do well at this. Nothing is off the table. Who would it be and why?
Oh, I would do Winston Churchill. I would do John F. Kennedy. And,
wow.
Dude, I'd probably do Arnold Schwarzenegger. See, right? Yeah, I'd love to have coffee with that guy. That guy's a fucking badass.
Get to the coffee maker.
Go make some grounds. Don't teach us about 95 Celsius, Darius.
I can only imagine the conversation there. Oh, I love it. All right, here we go. We're going to the rapid round now. All I'm going to do is I'm going to give you 2 things. All you got to say is which one you choose. Are you ready?
Done. Do it.
All right. Paper or plastic?
Paper.
Soup or salad?
Both.
You want the super salad?
Yeah, super salad. Super. Soup.
All right. McDonald's or Taco Bell?
McDonald's.
Camping or hotel?
Hotel.
Fly or drive?
Fly.
Sleep in late or wake up early?
Oh man, honestly both. But sleep in late is probably preference.
I like it. That's more my pace. Walk or run?
Walk.
Come on, Darius.
You have flat feet and bad knees. I would say swim actually.
Oh, I like that. English Channel swim?
Yeah, that's on the list now.
Partly sunny or partly cloudy?
Partly sunny.
Here, this is an important one. Fire or water?
Fire.
Attaboy. All right. Use a porta potty or continue to run, drive, or to the next physical bathroom?
Oh, porta potty.
Ah, there you go. See, now you learn a lot about a person with that question. Coke or Pepsi?
Coke.
All right, Darius, it's been great having you on the show. You can go to therealdarius.com and find out more. Get his book, The Core Value Equation.
I love the book. So yeah, I love it. And yeah, the Real Darius sign up newsletter. I don't spam. I only send good shit. I'm all about creating value. That's what I'm here for.
I love it. Well, thanks, Darius, for coming on today.
Oh, bro, thank you for having me. It's so much fun.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us on Forged in the Fires podcast with Fireman Rob. See you next week.
Thanks for listening and supporting the Forged in the Fires podcast with Fireman Rob. Remember, don't forget to like and subscribe to this podcast, and please share this episode with a friend or family. To find out more about Fireman Rob or reach out about a question, go to www.firemanrob.com. Until next time, live your life forged in the fires.